All right, and welcome into episode 5, season 2 of Dogs on Skates. I am J-Dog, that is Andy, and with us as well, we've got Jared once again returning back for more.
Couldn't get enough.
Hard to blame you.
Another exciting episode, and to kick it off, I'm going to bring up something that I realized I forgot to bring up last episode. I was so excited to bring it to the pod, haven't told Andy, he has no clue what I'm about to bring up. But as it was like 2 weeks ago, a bunch of my coworkers all set up to go to a Victoria Royals game. They were playing Seattle, who has Braden Coots. Very excited to see him play. We have a couple drinks beforehand, go to the game, get everyone filed in, and I'm just going to bring up the photo here. But we get everyone filed in and start heading for the seats just so we can get everyone like seated. There's like 25 of us. And just as I'm walking over to the seat, there's a guy up to the right, and he's just kind of sitting there, and he's all by himself. He's like 3 rows up right at the wall. And I'm just like walking, look over, like, holy crap. There is a person there that I recognized I grew up watching. It is Daniel freaking Sedin sitting on the back row at this Royals game all by himself right behind me, like 4 rows behind me. So now I'm like, well, shoot, I am not watching this game. Like, I have no clue what happened in the first period of this hockey game. I am just thinking the entire time, like, hey, what am I going to say? How do I go, like, do I take a picture? Do I just leave him be? Like, he's got a clipboard out. He's just doing his work. What do I do that would be like something to acknowledge that this happened, something I could take home, but also not to like bother him or be that guy?
Yeah.
So I spend the first 15 minutes of the period trying to figure that out. But I also know first intermission, likely the last couple of minutes of the period, he's probably going to get up, take off. He very well likely might not come back for the rest of the game. This might be like my only opportunity to actually go say hi. So I'm like, okay, screw it. I'm going to do it. I waited to the last commercial break. Then I got up, hopped over the couple of rows of seats. But the other problem is I have no idea if this is Henrik or Daniel. I have no idea. So I'm like, and I think it's Daniel. I was like telling people I'm pretty sure it's Daniel, but like nothing other than just my like internal intuition is saying it's Daniel.
That's certainly what I thought with about like 50% certainty.
It's, a fair percentage.
Yeah.
So as I'm walking up, I'm like, how do I open this conversation? He's just looking down his clipboard. How do I break the ice here? So I walk up, finally get to like 1 row away from him. He looks up at me. I was like, so Henrik or Daniel? He's like, Daniel. I was like, yes. Awesome. I knew it.
You should have just said,
that's why I asked.
You should have just gone with it and guessed. And if you got it wrong, you'd be like, it was 50-50.
See, thing is though, as a person whose name is hard to get right, there's no chance he would correct me. He's like, yeah. Like, you just go with it. So I never actually knew. So I had to just simply ask.
That's nice.
But yeah, super cool experience. Basically, it was just like, hey, I've been like a lifetime Canucks fan since I was like 4. Kind of take a picture. And just he was like, oh yeah, took a picture, shook his hand. That was it.
Couldn't convince him to come onto the pod though, hey?
No.
I bet you didn't even try, did you?
Sure did not.
Wow.
Not one bit.
Cool,
but yeah, that was a really neat experience. First time ever actually meeting one of the Sedins. I have like been around them. They came to Prince George for training camp, and I think it was like 2015. So was like in and around them, but never actually met one of them. So that was a really cool experience. And Braden Coots never ended up actually playing in that game. So I still don't know, what kind of player he's like in person. But that definitely made the whole thing all worth it. It was a very cool experience.
I wonder who he was watching then.
Yeah. Very realistically, he probably came to see Coots.
Yeah.
Like Coots was like a last minute no-go.
Right.
So I'm not sure why. Maybe it was like illness or something, but yeah.
Do you know what involvement the Twins have in like the scouting, general, like looking for other talent, things like that?
I think it's just general player development, isn't it?
Player development.
You're right.
So they basically have a lot of freedom in whatever they want to do, essentially.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
And in like the pantheon of all-time Canucks, the Sedins are, I mean, Sedins, right. Linden, that is that the top three, maybe?
Luongo, probably.
Yeah.
In terms of like popularity and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kessler used to be. That's changed. We'll leave that alone.
Probably a lot of smoking deals.
That was the team that I think people are always going to look back to as the golden era of Canucks. Certainly,
especially in our generation.
Yeah.
Could probably grab a Kessler jersey for a song about now.
So you can burn it?
I maybe have one of those up in my closet, to be honest. So,
yeah. Anyway, I thought that was a really cool experience. And I couldn't believe it when I got to lunchtime the next day after we recorded last week. And I was like, holy crap, I forgot to bring up the Sedin story. Like, how did I forget that? So I'm glad you will maybe forgive me one day. But yeah, lots of smoke around the Canucks in terms of trades and that sort of thing. I imagine the Sedins are quite involved in probably future talks and player stuff as well in this stuff. So one thing that came out recently, and actually Jared brought it up to my attention, was the Marco Rossi trade. It's kind of been leaked now what the Canucks were being offered, I guess, for Marco Rossi, or what the offer would look like. And according to Michael Russo, he's saying it would be Atu Ratu, the Canucks number 15th overall, which was Braden Coots, and goalie Archer Shilovs, which was essentially just a throw in, because Shilovs, like, they would have to waive him and then lose him for nothing. So they didn't have really any leverage there. But yeah, I was kind of curious on your thoughts of what that could have been. Like, do you think they should have done it? Curious for your thoughts.
Well, I think we've talked about Marco Rossi before, and I wasn't as enamored with the player as I think you were. I think I really want a little more of a physical presence. If Petey's going to stick around as the number one, I want somebody with a little more edge for number two, I think.
Yeah, and that's fair.
May very well just be me still living in that 2011 Canucks realm where you had Kessler who played a grittier game, and that just really worked with the Sedins, right? He played the tough matchup games, freed the Sedins up to feast on lower competition. It really worked. So I think my head's just kind of stuck there.
And I think what you really want is a play driver. So like the physicality is probably like a secondary piece, but I think from our talking about it, I think what you said or what we've talked about is the play driving aspect of the player. Like, can they really push play, make things happen?
I don't know. You're about to tell me all the ways that Marco Rossi does exactly that.
I'm actually not.
No.
No.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I want the team to win. I want a Stanley Cup coming to Vancouver. I think you can do that with an undersized player as your 2C. But when I envision the ideal team, it's not the first place I go. Fair. But having said that, if you're looking at really it only costing you the 15th overall, Braden Coots, to do it, because Ratu, I don't think anybody's losing sleep over losing Ratu and Shilovs.
It's a big assumption.
Is it? At the time, nobody would have lost sleep over
I'm
Atu
with you.
Ratu.
We agree, but the words out of Twitter were that the GMs wanted to see who Atu Ratu was going to become before they made that decision, and that is why that deal fell through.
Like both GMs on both
Our
sides, everybody was
GMs
kind of
wanted
wait and
to.
see.
Our GMs.
Ours, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So they had a little more faith in the player than I did. And hey, he's kind of proven them right.
He's definitely
To
playing
a
to his
degree.
ceiling right now. It seems like, and I mean, it's a little unfair for me to say that ceiling. He's young, he's developing. Do we really know what his ceiling was going to be? I mean, players do weird things, and sometimes they just catch lightning, right? But yeah, it is seeming like right now maybe there is something there where you get more for him now. And that was my original thought, was like, I think I'm glad that we didn't do this. The more I think about it, though, the less I'm keen on the idea, especially being that She Loves was going to walk, or it's just a non-piece. Coots, again, who am I to say where he's going to be and what he could accomplish? I would hope and dream that he could be a 2C for us one day. But when you're in win now mode and you're trying to keep Quinn Hughes and you're trying to make the playoffs, and does that matter? Is definitely a good thought process. And Rossi is on the beginning of a 3-year, $5 million contract where he'll be an RFA at the end. So that is not bad value for what is touted to be your 1C, 2C guy who has been cultivated and drafted to play with Kaprizov. We talked a little bit yesterday, Jordan, about this guy's minutes in the playoffs, the way he performed and produced. He's an established pick, our player, and he is something that makes us young, makes us. He's 24. He's still going to develop, and we have yet to see who Rossi is fully. But I would be more confident in watching who is Rossi going to become than who is Ratu going to become right now, and looking at that, going a first-round pick for an area that's incredibly difficult and in a weak place right now is interesting. But
sorry to cut you off, J-Dog. I think as much as Rossi doesn't feel like the answer to me, if that's the alternative to doing nothing and having it get to the point that it's at now, where I think all resigned to the fact that we're going to lose Hughes and it's just all kind of going to crap. I think knowing that, yeah, absolutely, I pull the trigger and say, hey, Rossi's not perfect, but man, is he an upgrade over David Kampf as your 2C, and now 1C. Jeez.
Yeah.
I think I was of two minds of it. In one sense, if you actually think you can keep Quinn Hughes, I think you have to make that deal. No matter what, you have to make that deal. If you have a 80 to 90% chance in your mind that Quinn is actually just going to walk regardless, or you'll have to trade him at some point anyway, then I think there's a little bit more consideration to take there, which, I can kind of understand that. To me, though, when you come out and say, we have to get a centerman, it's going to be more expensive not to get a centerman. And then this offer happens and you're like, no, we want to see what Atu Ratu is going to be. Like, come on, man. Like, I know Ratu could be something, but what are the odds? What are the odds that a player that has played multiple years in the NHL is suddenly going to figure it out and become like a top 6 awesome centerman, but in the next 2-3 years? What are the odds? And then what are the odds he's actually going to help you win enough to also keep Quinn Hughes? Like, really? To me, I think you have to make that deal, and I'm really disappointed that they didn't. That said, I'm only like, if they get Gavin McKenna, then that disappointment just goes away, because cool, you found lightning in a bottle and it worked out. But as a plan, I don't think that was a good plan to just hope that Braden Coots and Atu Ratu are going to fix the whole issue. And honestly, it feels a lot like Jim Benning. Like we went out, we got our guys, and we just love our guys so much. And no matter what, we just gonna love our guys. And like, I'm gonna go to the grave with Atu Ratu. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is like the Brendan Gaunce, Jared McCann thing all over again. Like, my goodness. So I would have definitely liked to see them make that move. Even now, take Shelovs out of it because I don't think he's much of an asset anyway. And just do Marco Rossi for Ratu and Coots. Right now, I think I would still make that deal because I think Rossi quite possibly his ceiling is a first line center. His reasonable, realistic chance of what he's going to be is a second line center. Braden Coots is being projected to be at best a second, most likely a third line center. And I would say Atu Ratu is probably the same. At best a second, but most likely a third or a fourth line center.
Now,
you need upside.
Are you saying you do that deal just based on balancing the talent in versus talent out? Or are you saying that based on the situation the Canucks are in now, that you would still move
make
out?
The deal.
You'd
Correct.
Still make that deal.
Yeah, Marco Rossi, in my opinion, is a good enough player no matter what your team gets better. Like, the odds you get McKenna this year are pretty low. If you can have Pettersson Rossi next year, regardless of how you draft this year, you're a better team, in my opinion. And I personally don't think that highly of Ratu. I think he's going to be a third-line player. Like, the third-line centerman is a very good centerman. Like I could see him being like a Blake Coleman type player, but like, is Blake Coleman someone you're going to get to fix your top six? No, like he's a guy that Tampa is going to put on their like third or fourth line heading into the playoffs. Not someone they're going to stick on their top six. So for me, I would have done that deal all day long. And I think I'm starting to get senses that they really, 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 really love their guys. And I'm getting nervous that they're passing on opportunities because they're way too in love with their guys.
Yeah, maybe. I'm of the mind that they are just being cautious, and there seems to be a few question marks about Rossi that he's having troubles with their coach right now. He's not getting the deployment, the time. I don't know what's going on there. And I don't know if that attitude is on the player or on the coach. I think there's arguments to be made it's on the coach, but I'm not going to sit here and say that when, that team has been able to develop the Boldies in the same draft year, same time coming up through and developing them into superstar players. I see Zeev Boom. I see Brodin, the defenseman.
Brodin.
Yeah.
Brock
Faber. They've been able to develop young guys. And whether even like Gustafsson coming up the way he did under Fleury and now Wallstead, who after your shutout has suffered my fantasy team a little bit, but that's okay. The guy is developing, and they've been able to bring lots of players in through their farm. For this one to be all of a sudden, he's not connecting with the coach for whatever reason, doesn't really add up to me. And I think I'd give the coach the benefit of the doubt on this one. And I would say maybe the Canucks are hesitant to bring in any kind of drama. They certainly don't want divas. They don't want another player who's going to be entitled to what they think they've earned or deserve, and fall short on expectations. So, especially if they're looking at potentially trading away your snarl in Sherwood and in Garland, there's got to be a part of their minds that's looking at this young guy going, if we're going to grab young guys, we really need those character guys. And I don't know Rossi's character, but I know Braden Coots' character was why he was a big part of what they wanted. Is this really the move we want to make when Ratu is also a character guy? And you can see it even in his interview the other night after scoring 2 goals and having one waved off and getting an assist that night. he was able to, he doesn't seem to carry the ego of wanting to play up. He's just there to do his job, to play hard. You see the guy like that who has a little snarl in his game. And I'd be curious if there's a big part of them that's going, we can't trade all of our grit away.
So two things. One, I would have expected to hear more than that there's concerns about Rossi than we wanted to see what Ratu is going to be. Like, if they were actually concerned, I would have wanted that to be the reason. But it sounds like they're like, no, we just want to see what Ratu is going to be.
Yeah.
Like,
and I think, but there is a point to the fact that this is coming out right now that we want to see what Ratu is going to be. Is they have to, they do want to see what he's going to be. And it's an easier out than challenging the character of a young player on another team that you still very well may trade for or may want to trade for. And you're looking to see what's out there.
Go ahead. I'd also stand for Rossi in the sense that he has played top end minutes, been a producer, really shows that he is the part, like he is fit for the part to be on the top 6 of Minnesota. Then in the playoffs, he was dropped down to a third line playing 11 minutes, still producing at a half point per game in the playoffs, despite only playing 11 minutes. Not only that, I would be pissed if I was him to be dropped down in the playoffs to 11 minutes on my contract year. Yeah. Like, that is your time to shine. That is your time to actually show what you got, and your team just took that away from you. Like, I would be pissed. That's how you make your money.
Yeah.
And they just took that leverage away from him.
I think there has to be something there in some ways, because there's other players who've come through that and they've gotten paid on their contract year in that same team, in that same organization, and they have gotten they've been deployed and they've been given every chance. Again, I can't buy the narrative that it's just if there's beef between this guy and the coach. I'm not thinking that this is going to be a league-wide source of this guy's a drama queen. We're moving off of him, but they wanted to move him a while back. They've made that clear. And why would you want to move off a guy that you drafted and that you've cultivated unless it's a culture problem or a locker room problem? It's clearly not his production. It's clearly not his cost, right? So what is it that is drawing them into saying we want to move this player? And they still know what he's worth. And I think, that we're singing his praises here. We want him. But I just look at it and go, there's something going on there that we're not seeing, and maybe they're a little better about keeping it under wraps.
Well, because they're much closer to being a competitive team than Vancouver is, and that's not a trade that makes them better today.
No.
So.
Yeah. And that would have been prior to him signing as well with Minnesota too, which he's now signed. So
yeah,
things have changed. It was also, it was also prior to them losing Suter. And I think that played potentially a big part in this. If they thought they were getting Suter back, and then they ended up losing him too. Yeah. Did you have a last thought there?
I do hope that they maybe in the future don't just come out and say what it is that they desperately want and need, even if it's abundantly clear to anybody with 2 brain cells to rub together who are paying attention that, the Canucks need centers. You always just kind of hope that there's some GM asleep at the wheel who doesn't know, and maybe, as a result, you can pry a guy loose. But you go out there and you say it out loud for the world to hear that, hey, we are desperate for a center. Of course, it's going to be tough to get one now. Everybody knows you're desperate. That's not a place you want to be negotiating from. I don't know.
At least they haven't been talking about Quinn Hughes.
Haha.
Wait.
Segue.
Never mind. All right. Lots of Quinn Hughes stuff. How soon do you think? First of all, do you think he's getting traded?
Yeah.
Jared? Is he walking?
No, I don't think he's walking.
Okay. Is he re-signing?
You're running out of options if he's not walking.
I see how bleak it is out there. I'm leaning towards the fact that he'll be traded.
Have you listened to any of his interviews?
Oh yeah.
That man is dead inside.
Yeah, I'm definitely leaning towards him being traded. I feel like recently we've stopped hearing the narrative of like I'm just trying to win here, I'm just trying to do my best here, and it's become a little bit less about that. Yeah, I definitely am leaning towards him being traded, but I'm holding out some hope. I'm not gonna lie that we're gonna somehow re-sign this guy. That we're gonna.
Wow.
I know, I know. I'm holding out some hope that he wants to be the captain that turns the ship around from drafted and gets to do the thing that Bo Horvat wanted. I'd be curious to see if he's that guy or not. But,
I think he's looking at Bo Horvat and is like, I'll do that. That looks nice.
yeah, there's a very real possibility. And I have heard recently a few of the narratives around him not going maybe to the Devils in the sense that this might not be the thing he or they really, really want. And I think that's
I've heard
a very
that too.
interesting
Yeah.
take because
Yeah.
some of that is like, there's some reality there. How is Luke Hughes going to win the defensive Norris Trophy if Quinn's on the team, or vice versa, right? Like, there's only so much room to accomplish all. There's only one power play specialist, unless I guess you roll two, maybe. And I could see them doing that, but
then they'd have Dougie Hamilton as well.
I think Dougie's coming back if they make the
Yeah.
trade. We'll see, but
I don't hate that as long as he's not the whole part of the deal.
yeah, 1 for 1,
but
right
yeah.
across.
Oh, the trade is 1 for 1. Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's feels too real. Yeah, it's okay. So I think we're all in agreement he's getting moved. When do you think he's getting moved?
The sooner the better, frankly, for the benefit of the tank, for maximizing your return from him as well, and to just be done with the drama and the questions that, I mean, this team has been nothing but drama for like, 2.5 years now? Let's be done with it.
Yeah. Jared?
It's not happening before the new year. So
between the New Year and the Olympics, before the deadline,
yeah,
the summer, next year.
When is the Olympics starts? When?
February.
Yeah.
It's like basically all of February. So it's really interesting. January is going to potentially be like a pre-trade deadline month.
Yeah.
Because it's January, February is off, and roster freezes, I believe, are happening. And then it's like a week and a half into March, and then it's trade deadline. So it's pretty big.
I'm going with January. It's
that feels right.
I'm not thinking. I have the feeling that they want to let Quinn have the Christmas break, do the things that he wants to do, and maybe take that little bit of time to talk to family outside of play, have those communications, and see let it settle a bit. That make a final decision, have that clarity, and then the clock is ticking, and it's time to make that move, and you get the guy shipped off at some point then. So
I think the Olympics are going to be pretty fierce if the Four Nations was any indication. And I could see the Canucks not wanting to hold on to him through that because God forbid something happened to him during that, and now you can't move him. Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's probably our most likely outcome is sometime in January, which, that's probably okay.
Completely agree. So then we're looking destinations. Now, Jared, you brought up that the Devils maybe not his number one destination, which is interesting because that's the place everyone's looking at. Obviously, he wants to go play with his brothers. Jim Rutherford came out in the summer is like, he wants to play with his brothers. That's kind of what started and ignited this whole fire. Thanks, Jim.
Maybe we'll trade for his brothers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Jim.
Do it, Jim. Show me.
Yeah.
I bet you can't. I like they interviewed the Devils GM. He's like, I'm not really sure what Jim was talking about there. But anyway, the Jim Rutherford brought up that he wants to play with his brothers. Jack Hughes keeps taking selfies with Quinn and captioning them like, only 2 more years, blah, 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 blah. Everyone is talking about New Jersey. Quinn Hughes has never once said he wants to play with his brothers. Jack Hughes on an interview said, I want to play with my brothers. Like, it's coming out from everywhere, but I don't believe, unless I missed it, I don't think Quinn has actually said that. Quinn has never once said that.
Well, he's the captain of the Canucks, and I think it's a role that he still takes very seriously. So he may be thinking that with all his heart and soul, but he won't come out and say it.
Yeah. I think that Quinn has some amazing friends outside of the Canucks that are not his brothers that he would have an absolute blast playing for and competing with. Right? Like, I think of Brady Tkachuk, I think of Dylan Larkin. Off the top of my head, those are just two guys I know he's really, really close with. Trevor Zegras is another one. So, and funny enough, I've heard the smoke coming from 2 of those teams at least,
Yeah.
So, I could definitely see him being traded very willingly to a team that is in a place to compete that doesn't have Jack and doesn't have Luke. But I don't think that means that it's not going to happen still. This team might get the prolonged rental of Quinn Hughes, and he may walk or be dished later to the Devils. You may also see him go to a team in free agency that all the brothers have decided that's where they're going. Like, I don't know.
Totally.
You just...
Well, and both brothers are locked up to long-term deals now too.
Yeah.
So that makes it a big piece of work if you're moving both of them over to a different team. But you never know.
Well, I think Jack's
Quinn was leaving
contract
either.
ends 2030. So, 5 years.
Well, and Luke just signed a big one too, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So the Red Wings team is, I think, one of, if not the main team that's being rumored for Quinn Hughes to go to. It makes a lot of sense in terms of fit, in terms of cap circumstances, and they've got draft capital and pieces to move as well. I believe Quinn Hughes, and I would have to double check this, but I believe Quinn Hughes is actually from Detroit as well. Like, that's where he grew up. And I remember that being talked about when the Red Wings could have drafted him. I think it was like 8 years ago or something. They had the opportunity, and everyone's like, oh yeah, they'll probably just draft Quinn. He's from there. And, the fans already love him in that area. And then they pass on him for Philip Zadina, who now I believe plays in Europe somewhere. And so it's kind of ironic now that they'll be potentially going back to Quinn Hughes, and we could potentially be getting a decent amount of capital for it. So thank you, Detroit, if that ends up working out that way. One rumored offer that is being put out there, and I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it. Quinn Hughes to the Red Wings for Simon Edvinsson, or Simone, I think it's Simon, Nate Danielson / Marco Kasper, so either or, Emmett Finney, the 2026 first round pick, and the 2027 first round pick. So that's Edvinsson, say Marco Kasper, Emmett Finney, and Kasper and Finney, I believe, are both like actively on their roster. Edvinsson might be as well, but I know Kasper and Finney are. A 2026 first and a 2027 first. How would you guys feel about that return? I'll start with you, Andy.
That is a honestly pretty tempting package.
Yeah.
You're getting a defenseman that can step in and fill a hole. You're getting probably a couple like Finney and Kasper, both 20, 21 years old centermen. Finney's putting up half a point per game.
I just picked him up in fantasy.
Yeah. Kasper's not really doing much. Danielson's not doing a ton, but as secondary pieces, and then adding in the 2 firsts, and how this regime loves to flip their first round picks. So you can get two competent guys back for those first round picks, and that's a really fast retooling, pretty much
Yeah.
overnight. So I think it's in line with what I would. Oh man, I don't even know if it's hope or expect. It's a little bit of both. I don't want to be disappointed with the return, and I don't think that I would be disappointed with this.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm for it. Edvinson is 6'6", 223
Ooh.
pound left shot.
He could replace Tyler Myers.
Yeah, age 22 though.
Oh, amazing.
He's in the last year of a RFA contract. He'll be an RFA, at the end of this year. Currently making sub $1 million.
So he's in an entry level deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
all three of these are in entry level contracts, and all Finney and Casper have. So Casper will be 2027 season. He'll be an RFA, and Finney just signed his entry level, so he'll be out 2027, 2028. So you've got 3 RFAs that will be on expiring contracts 1 year after another, but they're young. They're 20 to 22. It's their 2 centers, a strong shutdown D is I think the idea of Edvinson, and currently sitting at 9 points in 27 games. The guy is 44 points over 130 game career. Not bad for a defenseman.
Definitely.
Yeah, I don't know too much about him other than that, but
yeah,
he's the only one that has any significant sample size. I think Marco Casper was the one who is kind of higher expectations. He, first round pick, picked 8th overall in 2022, whereas Finney was a 7th rounder.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he has really stepped into it, and he's doing great right now. But Casper was the one everyone was expecting. So it might be it might be a really good time to buy on all 3 of these guys. Honestly, I'd be really keen on them. There's also picks included. How can you say no?
I think even if you turn that like 2027 first into like a 2026 second or third, I think I would still be somewhat okay with this deal.
Yeah.
But maybe not a third, but a second, I think I'm still okay with it if it's this year.
Yeah, I'm still hung up on the idea of Raymond. I'm still hung up on the idea of Michkov.
He's a winger.
Yeah.
We don't need another
I'm not
winger.
saying that I'm saying that level of player, that in that degree of their development, in that stage of being an established player. I would add Rossi or to that kind of place. Yeah, and these seem to be the players that we're keen on, that we're targeting. There are people who do this for a living who could tell you what they think these guys are going to turn out to be. But with those other players, at least we've seen it enough to know that this is who they are at a very baseline, and hoping that they can continue to grow as they, reach their prime. But
I'd be into throwing Besser in and then Raymond in, and you just add them both to each side of the package and then send it across.
Well, then you're definitely downgrading one or both of those picks.
I don't know. Besser has like a pretty good rep across the league for the kind of player he is, because a lot of people don't stay up till 10 o'clock Eastern to watch Canuck games.
Oh man, I would run, not walk, to accept that deal.
yeah,
yeah. Any last words on that, Andy, or should I move on to the next one?
I don't know. We talked a little bit about Dylan Larkin as part of the package coming back, but they may want to hold on to him just for, keeping some guys with a little bit of veteran.
And he's good friends with Hughes, and
yeah.
I mean, it would be brutal for Larkin, who just slugged it out with the Wings for like 10 years in the trenches, every year missing the playoffs. Finally, we're going to make playoffs, and then you trade him to Vancouver.
That would be absolutely devastating.
Yeah.
Yeah. been trying to like think of some other places other than just like the main ones in New Jersey and the Wings. And I mean, the Rangers try to get themselves involved in everything. The Sharks, SDPN brought this up today. The Sharks are very much taking a step now in the direction of getting good. They've got all of the young pieces. It just needs to develop and continue to grow. What about a Quinn Hughes for Michael Misa and maybe a draft pick or something? Michael Misa was a second overall pick from this past year's draft. He is 6 feet, 185 pounds. He's 18 years old. Played in the OHL for the Sonaga Spirit. He had 134 points in 65 games in the OHL last season. That's a lot of points.
Yeah.
So many points.
NHL history is littered with guys who have lit it up at lower levels and it didn't transfer. I'm more inclined to go with, when we were talking about Rossi, a little bit more of a known entity coming back. Not that I wouldn't be excited about having Misa in the prospect pool. I absolutely would, but it would need to be a fair bit more than that for me to feel good about it. And I do recognize that he is a far better prospect than anything the Canucks have had.
Yeah, second overall, and there was a chance he could go first last year.
Yes.
Yeah, I would take that.
Really?
I would.
What kind of pick would you need with it?
I'd want a first, but
okay.
But that's what I would want. I don't know what's realistic. Michael Misa first. This kid is. Yes, you're right. He isn't proven, but he isn't unproven, and he went for second overall. We might be hoping that we get second overall this year. This is the kind of aged player. He's 18 years old, 6'1", and 183 pounds. This guy, we're looking at a potential. This kid could still be 6'3", and somehow, I don't know. He could stay 6'1" and be 220. This kid could bulk up. We have no idea what his potential is. We have no idea, but he's a centerman. He is, I think this kid's a winner. I would like to.
But best case scenario, Misa turns into a game-breaking player, right?
Yeah.
Quinn Hughes is a game-breaking player.
I agree, and that's where I want that pick as well, right? I want the ability to make something else so that we can grow and develop from there. There's no, 100%, but. This isn't one I've really considered, to be honest. So I'm not too sure yet.
Yeah. So to make it like equivalent to the Detroit deal, it would be like if you were just to trade the two, like to look at the two returns and compare them against each other, the first round pick with this year would cancel out. So it would be Michael Misa or Simon Edvinsson, Marco Kasper, Emmett Finney, and a 2027 first. That's the two options. So do you want like the rookies, the young prospects, or young players, I guess, that are producing right now for the Red Wings team and a next year draft pick? Or do you want the second overall centerman from that was just drafted that looks like he's going to be insane, but he played only 7 games in the NHL this year, had a goal and 2 assists.
I don't know what the answer to that is. I think... Go ahead.
I'm going to go Misa.
Yeah. High in talent? Okay.
Yeah, I think this is the kind of player we've been wanting our team to be able to draft on a rebuild. If we're going with the rebuild, like you can do a lot of trades and find younger players for some of the veterans, and you can move this team in a younger direction. That's all retooling. This is a rebuild player. This is the kind of player you build around. I'm not saying Kasper won't be that. I'm not saying any of those players won't be, but this kid is. that right now. And I know you said best case scenario, he's a game breaker. Obviously, don't like thinking about the worst case scenarios, but I don't think that the worst case scenario is that this kid is not an NHL player. There's definitely a chance. It happens every year with someone in the first round. But this kid is, I think, a slam dunk. So
his floor feels like second line center.
Yeah.
Like that's what his realistic floor feels like.
And I will admit to being intrigued at the thought of
McKenna and Misa.
Yeah.
Like that's the true rebuild crap. Like that's the stuff we've been wanting forever.
But I was like to think about the idea that if you traded Sherwood to the Detroit Red Wings somehow, what's the return on that? Because right now they're looking at prospect plus or player plus first. So
or even just a first.
Yeah. So if you go like, oh, well, I really want a Casper, I'm sure there's a way that works out. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like in one way or another. Or if you're like, okay, you know, maybe then they take Edvinsson off the table because they're not losing a D to gain a D, right? Like I don't know, but I just look at this and go, these younger players come around sometimes, and if they're on the trade block right now or suspected or whatever's going on there, they might still be around for another player to get that veteran, heavy hitting presence for the playoffs that they're about to go on, rather than have this young, potentially inexperienced player who isn't a surefire, you know. So I don't know. I just think if Misa's on the table, that'd be awesome.
I wonder though about San Jose's opinion on that, because they're probably then looking at Quinn as a 2 playoff rental, right? I don't know. I don't know that I see him re-signing in San Jose,
California. That's a pretty like
he's a Michigan guy. That's pretty far from Michigan.
But you look at the type of players they have there, like they've built such an incredible core. And if he's only what 24, 25, he's still ridiculously young because he's been the captain, because he's what it feels like he's been a main core part of this team for so long. I think myself and everyone else thinks of him as 28, 29. I think he's only like 24.
He's like 26.
He's only okay.
But so just turned 26. Yeah.
So okay. So he was just 25. Like that is someone that is just entering into his prime, or he's not on the back half of his prime at all. Now he's got years and years with Celebrini and Will Smith and Eklund and on and on and on. Like and then playing in California. Plus he gets a break from like the crazy media scrutiny and all that kind of stuff. I think it looks so desirable.
So thinking about
an interesting thought.
Other players, you know, we saw Zach Bolduc's name come up. There's another player I was thinking about. Previous first round pick, second overall as well. 6'5", 216 pounds, UFA, probably best bang for your buck you're ever going to get this player for.
What draft year?
2016.
2016. So that's the year before the Quinn Hughes.
The best player
draft
that we could ever hope for. Guaranteed scoring, Patrick Laine.
I figured I was gonna say Puljujarvi. I'm like, no, he went 4. Who was second?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, your favorite player of all time is available.
I want the first overall pick from that draft, Austin Matthews. I don't want the second overall pick.
You don't want more glass on this team?
Oh my goodness. I don't know if he's an NHL player anymore.
I definitely don't want the third, fourth, or fifth.
Oh man, I thought you had something there.
Yeah.
Dang it.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean there's kind of endless possibilities for where he can go, because, and it's so strange, a player of this caliber on a nice contract doesn't have a no move clause. It's so weird. And I don't know how his agent let him sign that, but I'm happy for the Canucks. The That said, I've kind of heard rumors that he might actually have some sort of no move clause in the last year of his deal, which is next year, because they don't really have to make that public. Apparently, I didn't know that. So there is potential that there's incentive there to move him this year rather than waiting till next year, because that might be the case. I can't remember who it was, but one of the Canucks beat reporters actually reached out to both Quinn Hughes' party and the Canucks management, and neither of them made comment to it. So it makes you think there's probably something, because if there wasn't anything, why wouldn't you just say that? So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time believing that this is like the one contract in existence that the insiders didn't get those details out of.
Apparently that is like not like when it's a future, maybe it's you need to make it known in that year or something. I'm not sure. But apparently that's a thing. Like you could just not know for future years if there was a deal, because it doesn't have to be made public. So I don't know. Yeah.
Interesting.
Indeed. I was curious if there was anyone on, and this is kind of the last thing, if there's anyone on the Flyers organization that stuck out to you guys as returns, because I couldn't really find a lot. I know, like, I'm hearing his name come up, but I'm like, man, I don't know there's a lot there they have to give to make it worth it.
Well,
You don't want Zegers?
No, not really.
No.
Tyson Forrester is the only one
Tippett's
I
name.
keep hearing is Tippett as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tippett doesn't get me excited.
Or does Forrester
No.
for me?
Or does Mishkov?
No.
Honestly, Mitchkov gets me up for that. Yeah, I get interested there.
I don't want another winger who can't prep properly in the offseason. I don't need another one of those players. Like that was the whole thing with this past summer.
I think the common denominator here is Talkit.
Maybe.
I don't think this is...
So was it also Torts then? Because it was the same problems before Talkit.
So I think that from what I heard, he tried to reach out to the team and let them know that he was injured, but it didn't work somehow. So I'm not saying that it's like acceptable. You're a professional. You're getting paid a lot of money, and Facebook Messenger's free. So there shouldn't be no reason that they can't exactly, get some kind of notification there. But he is 21, and he was injured. He wasn't just like goofing off and not training, to my understanding.
I don't know about that. I think Couture made like a comment to it in an interview as well, where it was like,
yeah, but you saw how Couture talked about him. That guy's leadership abilities are... I've seen sloths with better leadership ability. Okay.
Wow. Damn.
I am not.
That's a shot at like a known leader in the NHL.
Well,
wow.
That interview specifically gave me enough grounds to feel that this guy is part of an old guard that doesn't deserve the respect of time. I'm not saying that. There's so many players who I think lead by example, and I don't know. I don't know what's going on in that room completely, right? But up until that interview, I had nothing going wrong with him. I felt like that was a really distasteful way to outswing your players. The way that he did that was just a pretty big red flag to me. And leaders are allowed to make mistakes, so I'm not saying that he's he's done. I should probably be a little nicer to a guy who is a legend. But he also, just to me, I look at that and go, sometimes when you're on a team with Talkit and some of the other older coaches, that they love these old school guys. And, JT Miller was no exception. And sometimes they get the green light to go and do something like that. I think we saw that last year with JT Miller, and I wasn't a fan of it then either. Fair. So, to me, I just look at this and go, you guys are you're not going to get the heart of a young guy, a 21-year-old guy that way, let alone the language barrier, all the other things. I think a good leader recognizes that people of Michkov's generation are generally respect is a different. It's different. It's not that it's gone. It's just not something that is. They don't handle the hazing the same way that I think older generations did, and yeah, I'm not sure that was the way to get this guy on fire in the same way that it wasn't really for Pettersson. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, it's a good point. So no Couturier in return then?
Hell no.
Okay. All right. Andy, any last thoughts?
Nah, I got nothing for you.
All right. Well, I think that's all the time for today. Until next time. Peace.
Peace.